3 guaranteed points or a good performance? Which one would you guys choose at this stage of the campaign? Because let's be honest, with Aston Villa losing and the next game coming against Manchester United, our second direct competitor for a Champions League spot, this was not the kind of match where we could afford to drop points. At this point, we would have taken the 3 points, even if it meant watching a full 90 minutes of terrible football. And to be fair, for a while, it looked like we might have to suffer through exactly that. But do you know what the best thing about this 3-1 win against Crystal Palace was? It was the fact that we only had to endure 45 minutes of horrendous football, because the first half actually was not that bad. In fact, there were moments where we looked sharp, controlled, and dangerous enough to make you think the game might be more comfortable than it eventually became. And you know what else? A certain player reminded everyone what he is really all about. You guessed it, Florian Wirtz. And no, we are not even talking about the great goal he scored. So, what exactly are we talking about? Hit those like and subscribe buttons and let us jump straight into our video. So tactically, we would not really say there was a huge difference compared to the Everton game. It looks like Slot is treating every remaining game like a cup final, and because of that, he is trying to avoid any unnecessary risk when we have the ball. That meant a more direct approach, one that relied a lot on counter-pressing, was the way we wanted to create chances. Instead of forcing short passes through crowded areas, we tried to recycle the ball using this 3-2 base structure, with Robertson becoming the third centre-back and McAllister and Szoboszlai forming the double pivot in midfield. Jones pushed higher from the right-back position, while Salah stayed wide on the touchline to stretch the pitch. Meanwhile, Wirtz kept dropping deeper to get involved in the build-up, and Isak moved around the front line to create passing options and pull defenders away from their positions. But the main thing we kept doing was going long towards our wingers. In this instance, we played that usual long diagonal from Van Dijk to Salah. And the idea was pretty simple. If Salah won the first contact, or if the pass managed to get him in behind, then great. We could let him attack his 1-versus-1 situation, look for a cross, or combine with the players around him. But even if we did not win the first duel, we still had players close enough to react. With the fullbacks and central midfielders nearby, we could counter-press straight away, win the second ball, and create a dangerous situation from there. Here, Jones was the one who reacted well and won the second ball. And although the idea to play Salah through was good, his outside foot pass was intercepted before it could reach him. But that was not our most threatening weapon. You see, against a side like Crystal Palace, you would think that hitting them on the counter would not really be an option because they simply do not like to keep the ball for long periods. They are usually more comfortable sitting deeper, defending their box, and waiting for their own moments to break. But somehow that is exactly what we managed to do. And this is where Wirtz's brilliance becomes clear. This situation started from a dangerous free kick for Crystal Palace near our area. They went short at first, then worked the ball wide and delivered the cross into the box, but we defended it well. The ball then dropped around Gakpo and Wirtz, and Flo was the one who took it in stride and drove forward. Now this is not an easy situation at all. Wirtz is not the fastest or most explosive player in the world when he is running with the ball, and as you can see, he was pretty isolated with very little support around him. If he just pushed the ball forward and tried to carry it himself, the defender could have easily guided him out wide, used the touchline against him, and slowed the whole counter-attack down. And once that happens, Crystal Palace would have had enough time to recover their shape. But what Wirtz did completely changed the dynamic of the attack. He makes a quick scan and sees that support is arriving down his left. Then, instead of taking his touch out wide into the open space where the defender could have trapped him, Wirtz takes his touch back inside. And that one small decision flips the whole situation. By doing that, he forces the defender to adjust his footwork, which gives Flo control of the duel. It also allows him to stay on the ball and cut in front of the defender who was approaching from behind. From there, he plays a great pass into Salah, who goes on to win the penalty that was unfortunately ruled out. However, our opening goal did not take long to arrive after that, because just 10 minutes later, Alexander Isak came back and scored his first goal since the injury he suffered. And again, the idea was very similar to what we discussed earlier. Find the wingers in behind, attack those wide areas, and when the chance is there, counter-press quickly to keep the attack alive. Here, McAllister slips the ball out wide to Salah, who does extremely well to isolate his defender and put him on the floor. From there, Salah tries to deliver the cross into the box, but it does not quite reach its target. Still, this is where the positioning around the box matters. McAllister had continued his run and was waiting at the edge of the area, ready to attack the loose ball and fire the shot. Now, let us be honest, the shot was bad. But luckily for us, it turned into the perfect pass. The ball found Isak inside the box, and he finished the chance with great technique to give us the lead. 5 minutes later, Wirtz and our transition threat came back to haunt Palace again. Woodman, the absolute legend of a goalkeeper, made a great save from a Mateta header, and from there, the attack started straight away. Konate picked up the loose ball and found Wirtz, and this is where the whole move really begins. Here you can see the German quickly check his right shoulder to see the pressure coming from Munoz. Then he checks to his left and understands that Jones is already pushing forward into space. Now, the easy thing here would have been to take a direct touch forward and carry the ball into the open grass. But if he does that, Munoz probably closes him down quickly, and the counter-attack loses its speed. So instead, Wirtz takes a backwards touch, which might look negative at first, but in reality, it is the touch that opens everything up. By doing that, he manipulates both Munoz and Richards, he drags them towards the ball, slows their reaction for just a second, and gives Jones the chance to slip through and push higher up the pitch. From there, Jones plays a great pass through to Robertson, who somehow summoned his inner Suarez and finished the chance brilliantly. At 2-0, we went into the second half with what should have been a fairly comfortable lead. Unfortunately, the players looked a bit too comfortable, and that is where the problem started. The second half was simply not good enough. We dropped our level, we stopped playing with the same intensity, and we allowed Palace to grow more and more into the game. They started to threaten us on different occasions, and suddenly, a match that should have been under control started to feel way more nervous than it needed to be. And of course, that weird goal from Munoz, while Woodman was still on the floor, did not help our confidence at all. After that, you could feel the panic slowly creeping in. For a moment, it really looked like we might bottle the 3 points from a position where the game should have been finished already. Fortunately, Florian Wirtz came back in the dying minutes of the game and produced one hell of a worldie to kill the match off completely. So overall, this was not a perfect performance by any means, and honestly, the second half gave us way more stress than it should have. At 2-0, we should have managed the game better, controlled the tempo, and made sure Palace had no way back into it. Instead, we dropped deeper, lost control, and allowed them to believe they could get something. But at this stage of the season, the 3 points are the most important thing. With Aston Villa dropping points and Manchester United coming up next, winning this game was absolutely massive. And even though the performance was not great for the full 90 minutes, there were still positives to take. Isak got his goal, Robertson finished like a striker, and most importantly, Florian Wirtz showed again why he is such a special player. So yes, there is still a lot to improve, but this was a huge win. As always guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit those like and subscribe buttons, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you on the next one.